All right, today we're diving into the story of a mind that, and this is no exaggeration, literally electrified the world. Nikola Tesla. And it's a story that's got everything. Incredible genius, the resistance he ran up against, and the really profound personal price he paid for his vision. I want you to really think about this for a second. What if you could build, test, and perfect a super complex machine? All of it, just inside your head. No blueprints, no models, no building a single thing. Just pure, focused thought. Well, for Nikola Tesla, that wasn't some sci-fi fantasy, that was just his workshop. It was his day-to-day process, and it was the very wellspring of all his revolutionary inventions. So, to really get a handle on Tesla the inventor, we have to start by understanding the extraordinary nature of his imagination.
And look, this is Tesla in his own words. He said he could build entire devices right there in his imagination. He could run them, check them for wear and tear, even make improvements, all before a single screw was ever turned in the real world. I mean, this technique, some people call it picture thinking, was basically his superpower.
But here's the crazy part. This ability didn't exactly start out as a gift. When he was young, Tesla was actually plagued by these blinding flashes of light, these vivid, totally uncontrollable visions. But through sheer intense willpower, he figured out how to not just control it, but to actually harness it. He turned what was an affliction into his greatest tool. It let him visualize his inventions with almost photographic precision, and that meant he could build and perfect the ideal version of a machine in his mind long before any physical parts were even made. Okay, just a quick note from our team here. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel, turn on the notification bell, and share and like our work. It really helps us keep making explainers like this. Oh, and just so you know, all the information in this video is compiled from open sources. Thanks so much.
So, you'd think with a mind that powerful, his path through university would be a breeze, right? Well, you'd be wrong. In fact, his university years are where we see the first major conflict really spark to life.
So, picture this. It's 1875, and Tesla is the star student at the Austrian Polytechnic. Absolutely brilliant, acing all his exams. But then, just 1 year later, that incredible brilliance slams right into the brick wall of the academic establishment. And that conflict? It sent him into a complete spiral. By 1878, his incredibly promising academic career was just in ruin.
And here's what that conflict really boiled down to. Tesla looked at the direct current, or DC, machines of the day and saw a huge flaw. He argued that their sparking parts, called commutators, were just wasteful and unreliable. He knew a much better motor could run on the smooth, flowing power of alternating current, or AC. But his professor, a really respected authority, didn't just disagree, he publicly ridiculed the idea, calling it a perpetual motion machine, basically an impossibility, a fantasy. And that single moment? That was the seed for the entire future of electric power.
But that same mind that could literally see the future of electricity, it also carried a tremendous, tremendous burden. You see, his genius came at a really profound personal cost.
Yeah, the sheer intensity of his mind showed up in some really extreme ways. He was plagued by all sorts of phobias and obsessive behaviors, a deep fear of germs, a bizarre aversion to round objects. He once fired his secretary just because of her weight. I mean, this is a guy who could work for 84 hours straight without any rest, but that same insane drive also led to severe mental breakdowns later in life. His genius and his struggle were just two sides of the same coin.
And one of his biographers painted this just devastating picture of his final days. He was described as a bitter, anorexic, eccentric, obsessed with feeding pigeons. Think about that. The visionary, who was friends with Mark Twain, the man who designed our entire modern world, ended his life broke, alone, and finding his only real companionship with the pigeons in a New York park.
And yet, out of all that struggle, out of that bitter debate in some university lecture hall, came the one idea that powers our entire world today.
You see, that AC induction motor that his professor called impossible, that's the one Tesla perfected in his mind back in 1882. After years and years of struggling, he finally got the patents in 1887. And then came the crucial part. He found a partner who actually believed in him. George Westinghouse. While everyone else was dismissing his ideas, Westinghouse saw the future. And their partnership? It created the system that became the backbone of our modern electrical age. In fact, it's the very same system that's powering your lights right now. But Tesla didn't become some billionaire titan of industry from it. Not even close. The original deal he had with Westinghouse was actually amazing. It included a generous royalty for every horsepower of AC electricity sold. But when Westinghouse's company was on the brink of financial collapse, which threatened the whole future of AC, Tesla made an incredible choice. He literally tore up his royalty contract to save the company and to save his dream. He later sold the patents outright for a lump sum of $216,000. Now, that was a fortune back then, for sure, but it was just a tiny fraction of what they were truly worth.
So when you look back at his life, what you really see is a story of the most extreme contradictions between a genius and the society he lived in.
And that right there is the ultimate paradox of Nikola Tesla. The man whose mind designed the very system that powers our world was completely abandoned by it. He ended up dying alone, in debt, in a hotel room. His bills were being paid by Westinghouse, but they called it a consulting fee just to spare him the shame of taking charity.
And that leaves us with one final, kind of haunting thought. From that professor who ridiculed him to the financiers who later abandoned his more radical ideas, Tesla was always ahead of his time. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much more did the world lose? What other marvels were born and then just died inside that incredible mind, all because the world just wasn't ready to listen?